Today, we find ourselves amidst a significant geopolitical development that underscores the intricate dynamics of international relations between the United States and Cuba. The U.S. government has announced a new round of sanctions aimed squarely at Cuba's president. This move represents a marked escalation in Washington's approach, signaling a shift in strategy that targets not merely the state apparatus, but the individuals at the highest echelons of power. Such actions are rare and therefore carry substantial weight both symbolically and practically. Symbolically, these sanctions serve as an unequivocal statement of condemnation against the Cuban leadership. It is Washington's way of publicly censuring the Cuban government for what it perceives as objectionable conduct. Practically, the implications of sanctioning a sitting head of state are profound, affecting everything from travel capabilities to financial transactions and international engagement. For those at the top of Cuba's political hierarchy, these sanctions can be more than just an inconvenience. They represent a direct challenge to their capacity to govern effectively. To understand the gravity of this development, we must delve into the historical context that has shaped U.S. Cuba relations. For decades, the relationship between these two nations has been fraught with tension. While periods of thaw and attempts at engagement have sporadically punctuated the timeline, they have often given way to renewed confrontation. The issues at the heart of this long-standing dispute include political repression, economic mismanagement, and divergent ideologies regarding governance. Over the years, U.S. policy has oscillated, reflecting the shifting winds of domestic and international politics. The decision to impose sanctions at such a high level is not a routine diplomatic maneuver. It is indicative of heightened tension. By targeting the Cuban president, the U.S. is not merely engaging in a bilateral dispute over policies or practices, but is instead signaling a broader dissatisfaction with the state's conduct. This move can be seen as a strategic attempt to apply pressure with the hope of achieving a change in behavior or policy. However, it also carries the risk of entrenching positions and reducing the likelihood of constructive dialogue. For Cuba, this development could not come at a more challenging time. The country is grappling with severe economic difficulties, compounded by shortages, inflation, and widespread public dissatisfaction with living conditions. The Cuban economy has long struggled under the weight of limited access to hard currency, weak investment, and constrained international finance. Additional sanctions targeting its leadership could exacerbate these issues, placing further strain on a fragile system. The resultant pressure on elite networks could ripple through the economy, potentially impacting the broader population and intensifying existing hardships. From the perspective of the United States, this move seems calculated to project a firm stance on political freedoms and governance in Cuba. It may also resonate with domestic audiences and lawmakers who advocate for a tougher approach to the Cuban regime. However, the efficacy of such measures has historically been mixed. While they might yield short-term leverage, their long-term impact is uncertain. Sanctions of this nature can harden positions, making diplomatic resolutions more elusive. The history of U.S.-Cuba relations is replete with instances where increased pressure has led to entrenched standoffs rather than meaningful dialogue. As we consider the wider implications, it becomes clear that this development will be closely monitored by regional governments and international observers alike. The potential ramifications extend beyond the bilateral relationship, affecting migration patterns, humanitarian conditions, and diplomatic alignments across the Caribbean and Latin America. A period of deeper strain between the U.S. and Cuba could have a cascading effect, influencing the geopolitical landscape in unforeseen ways. In conclusion, the decision to sanction Cuba's president marks a significant moment in a relationship already characterized by its complexity and volatility. It underscores the challenges of navigating international diplomacy, particularly when dealing with issues as deeply rooted as those between the United States and Cuba. As we move forward, the focus will be on whether this escalation will lead to a breakthrough in policy or further entrench the status quo. The coming months will be pivotal, and any shifts in behavior or policy on either side will be critical in shaping the future trajectory of U.S.-Cuba relations. As always, it is essential to approach these developments with a nuanced understanding and a willingness to adapt to the evolving landscape of international affairs.